Welcome back to my channel, everyone. It's been a while, and it is now 2022. Glad to say that if you're watching this, then you have survived 2021, and I'm happy for you. I'm happy for myself too. I have also survived 2021, and here's hoping this year goes a little better than the last couple. Anyways, you're here for a review. Today we have the BBK G.I. Joe Special Force Scarlett. This figure seems very interesting. It has no qualms about being labeled G.I. Joe on there, and the figure name is actually Scarlett. This is a third-party figure, so it's not really licensed, so that's why it's kind of interesting having the actual name of G.I. Joe on there and Scarlett. What is also interesting is if you notice on the front of the box, it says 1/6 scale collectible figure. The prototype shown, final product may be slightly different. Well, I hope it looks different than the actual shots on the front and the sides. I guess maybe they mean on the back of the packaging, but it's interesting the artwork that is on the front and sides. Seems like it could be just maybe a photo of the actual product, and what they did was sort of paint over the photo just to give it an art feel. Reasons for that, I'm not really too sure. I have my ideas why, but I guess we'll figure out when we have a look at it. I do also want to note, I find this kind of comical. Actually, I showed it to my brother and he just died laughing. On the G.I. Joe kind of logo there that they have on the box, instead of having the regular red, white, and blue, they went with the red, blue, and blue. I guess that's one way of them not getting noticed. But yeah, for some reason I found that really funny. Without further ado, let's pop open the box and I'll be back after. All right, well, pulling out all of her accessories, she has a lot here, and I did notice that I guess the figure is not really put together in terms of her outfit, so I guess we'll do that. I don't really like it when companies don't put the figure together, but we'll see. First off, we have her yellow bodysuit here. It's got a little red strap on the top. The material is really slippery, almost like kind of like a nylon feel. It's very lightweight and feels almost fragile. It does have a zipper that is located right on the back, so they can open it up and put it on Scarlett herself. Next up, we have a pair of these yellow gloves. They almost look like dishwashing gloves. I already don't like the looks of this. I've never seen this before where you have a 1/6 scale figure with removable hands. Then you have a pair of gloves that you have to put on. This should be interesting. One of the pairs actually has her shuriken that are attached to the glove. It's funny that the shuriken are kind of thick, so throwing those around would be very interesting. But regardless, next up we have her head sculpt. She only comes with the one. The hairstyle is very interesting. I mean, they went with rooted hair, and the hair is really bright, so it's not like a natural red. It is a very very bright red, and the face looks kind of interesting. I mean, you get what you pay for. It's exactly what I expected. The eyes at least look really shiny, and the paint on the eyes is really good. But yeah, there is like a yellow hairband here that I guess you're supposed to put it onto her ponytail in the back. Again, that's another thing that I find problematic. Maybe I'll show you when I get to it. But yeah, you're supposed to put it on there, and it doesn't look too stretchy or anything. You have a few of these switch out hands for Scarlett. Nothing too interesting. They are painted in a flesh tone and sculpted. Okay, and they're passable. I don't really see any issues with them. You have a pistol for Scarlett. I guess it's just pretty much all in black. It's got some brown on there as well, and it's got a little bit of silver on there. Nothing too interesting. It is very lightweight. The hammer seems movable, but you can't really do anything with the clip. I've been kind of tugging on it, and it doesn't seem like it's coming out or anything. You also have a bunch of these shotgun shells for her shotgun. We'll see if we can actually load these guys. I mean, sculpted and painted really nice. Then you have a pair of elbow pads and a pair of knee pads. We'll have to apply these onto the figure a little bit later. Doesn't look too bad. At least the bands are stretchy. But nothing too complicated. It is what it is. You have a holster for her pistol. Nothing too major with this. Painted all in black. It's very lightweight. Then you have a plastic sculpted smoke bomb or grenade with a label on it that actually says M18 smoke. So yeah. I believe this would be a faux leather belt. Very interesting. Kind of almost very flimsy. It does have some metal pieces on it just for the buckles. And yeah. Optionally, I believe you can slip those shells into the back of the belt in these little slots. You got a shotgun here. Looks really good. Nicely sculpted. Got some paint on there as well. Just black and red. Yeah, it looks all right. It is functional in you can pull it back and forth. There is a space to put a shell in there. However, when you do that, it doesn't really do anything. You can't really pop it in there. So, oh well. We have full leather straps for the holster to attach to her leg and her waist. Nothing too major here. It does have like a metal buckle there. It's very flimsy as well. I am happy to note that this figure does come with a stand. It is very generic, but at least it comes with a stand. Some figures don't, and this one has one. All right, so before we do a turnaround with this figure, obviously we need to put her together. So we'll get to that. All right, so first off, we want to note with this head sculpt, we want to get this hairband on her hair. And the first thing you notice is her hair is very wide. So it's going to be a pain in the butt trying to go through every single strand to get this hairband on. And I'm trying to think of solutions to get this on here. And I'm sure others may think of something. But first off, what I thought of was maybe getting like a piece of paper and then just kind of taping it so it gets thinner. I've also tried putting it in a plastic bag and doing the same thing. And then rolling it up. And then hopefully I can get all of the hair in there at once. And yeah, it's been very, very difficult. I also went through so many different solutions and tactics, and just going through them all was a pain in the butt. And eventually, I did get the hair tie onto the hair, but because there's so many strands that are kind of loose, unless you cover the whole ponytail, you can't really get it on there. Then I've tried saran wrap and then wrapping it just all across that ponytail. And even when I think I had a solution, eventually it seemed like it was going to go on straight and almost thought I had it. And I got about that far before I realized, yeah, that it's not going to go. Now, the problem with this hairband is it's attached. It's basically sewn together, but they didn't give you enough space for it to go in there properly. Like, look at this. If you look at it, if they actually had sewn it a little bit bigger, and they have enough space to do that, like it's really tight. If they had sewn it a little bit better and given you more space, then it would have went through. Another thing is if they actually had um, made it some other material that's more stretchy, I'm sure you wouldn't have a whole lot of problems. Like just make it like a regular hairband, like just a miniature hairband, and you wouldn't have any problems. But I unfortunately had given up on this. All right, next up, we're just gonna put the bodysuit onto the body itself. I'm thankful that this suit is somewhat stretchy. First off, you want to obviously have the zipper down, and we'll just put each one of her feet into the bottom of the suit and just pull it up. So just going to do that, and I'll be back in a sec. Now that the suit is on, I feel like this top part just right above her chest area is supposed to go up a little bit further. But just the size of her chest makes it, I guess, push downwards. Maybe that's what it's supposed to look like on this figure itself, but I feel like it should be a little bit higher. Oh, I've been thinking a lot of this, but already these dishwasher gloves of hers, I don't really think they were a good idea. I would have preferred if they just had some hand switch outs that are just like the plastic hand switch outs, or there's other ways to do this. But basically, they have a glove here that is supposed to go on these hands, and they have individual fingers, which somehow you're supposed to maneuver them into the glove. So I don't really think this was a good choice on their part. I'm not really sure what they were thinking. I'm sure they must have had to put this together and go through the headache of having to put these gloves on. Maybe it's just me, but again, I don't think it's a good idea. So eventually, in trying to slip the whole hand in there and try to get those individual fingers in there, eventually, because the way the whole hand is positioned, you're going to end up having it like this, where all of the fingers are trying to go into one hole. And it's annoying. It's unfortunate, but I gave up on the hair tie. I probably will give up on these gloves. Maybe I'll try it a little bit later, but yeah. Next up, you have her gun holster. Obviously, you want to take both of her straps and just insert them into the top holes, just like this. And then what we're going to do is just position the bottom strap, which is the shorter one, to go across one of her legs, which I assume should be the right one. And then what we're going to do is just insert this strap into the buckle. That way we can close it up. It has been a while since I've been frustrated with a figure, and it usually comes with me having to put on these accessories because companies don't put it together for you. Um, it gets pretty annoying. The problem with the strap now is because the strap is so flimsy, it doesn't go around. I don't know what you call it. I guess the strap that is on the belt itself, the little hoop, doesn't really go around the hoop properly. So what you have to do is kind of stick it in there until it gets to the opposite side. Then you can get some tweezers or something and then pull it from that side, pull it through, and then yeah, then it goes on. But it takes a whole lot of work. This figure has been a whole lot of work that I didn't really want. I didn't really want to budget this amount of time to this figure, honestly, for what it is. And yeah, I find myself having to spend hours on just this figure just because of how it is engineered, and it's unfortunate. Thankfully, eventually I got these straps on here. It's not like the gloves or the hair tie where eventually I had to just give up on them and maybe come back to them later, just because of the amount of frustration that I had. Eventually, I got them on. Now, I'm going to attach her main belt here. Maybe I'll put the bullets in later or the shells into the back later. But I did forget to note that there is some there's some magnets on the actual pouches. You can open and close them, which are kind of cool. I do appreciate that amount of detail on there. So eventually what you want to do is obviously put it around her waist, and then you're able to just take the two pieces on her belt and just clasp it together. Now it's got a little hook on there. You kind of have to hook it on and then pull it closed with your thumbs. And you have to be careful you don't snap that little metal piece in between there. Once you get on there, it just kind of leans. It's not really tight, so it just kind of hangs off of one of her hips, kind of like Rogue. The smoke bomb actually goes on her chest area. And there are two little hoops that you are able to just slide the little, I don't know what it's called, the tab into both of them. So that it just stays there. Pistol just slides into the holster like so. And of course, with her elbow and knee pad, there's two different shapes here. I assume the elbow pad is the oval one, and the knee pad is more like the squarish, the other one. So yeah, you can tell them apart. Elbow pad, you shouldn't have any issues. Just remove her hands, and then you're able to just slip it on without actually having to undo them or anything. All right, so for the knee pads, there's two different trains of thought because you'll see there's a little kind of like the apex of the knee pad. Should it be on the top or the bottom? Because the apex is not in the center, it's on one of the sides. I guess it's up to you. Now, because I don't like the way the stretchy straps are actually on the back here, I'm going to try to attempt to put it onto the leg or slip it onto the leg without having to undo the straps, because having to undo the straps and putting them back together looks like a lot of work that, because I've already spent a lot of time on this figure, I don't want to do. So I'm going to try it first and then we'll see what we can get here. So I got it pretty far up the boot, but ran into a whole lot of problems with those two pouches on the boot just because they're so wide. Eventually, yeah, I've had to undo the straps. Now, doing the straps back together was very annoying as well. So eventually, you know what I did? I just tied them. They look really bad on the back there, but at the same time, I'm not going to have her pose as much with her turned around. Chances are she's going to be facing forward, and it's pretty much the same solution, just with a little less time. Maybe again, I'll come back to this figure when I'm feeling not as frustrated, and I'll fix her knee pad, I'll fix her hair, and then I'll fix her gloves. And this is as far as I got. Kudos to you if you have this figure and you're able to get farther than me. But yeah, no gloves on this figure, at least as of yet, and no hair tie, again, at least as of yet. Here's an update for you. I actually did get the gloves on eventually. Took a lot of time. I'd say it was maybe around 40 minutes of on to get both of them in there. But what I had to do was just get a pair of tweezers and try to, I guess, push them through. Unfortunately, this is the way it turned up looking. Doesn't look that great. It looks like, well, if anything, it looks like Chubb's hand from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, what happened?
They wouldn't let me play on the Pro Tour anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because you're black?
Hell no. Damned alligator bit my hand off.
Oh my God!
Yeah, tournament down in Florida. I hooked my ball in the rough down by the lake. Damned alligator just popped up. Cut me down in my prime. He got me. But I tore one of that bastard's eyes out, though. Look at it.
All right, so you can turn the head sculpt left and right. No problems there. She can look up. She can also look down. So articulation is pretty good, at least so far. There is a waist twist. However, with the bodysuit on there, it kind of just snaps it back into place. So yeah, there is an ab crunch as well. Again, the suit kind of hinders that. Let's see here. Just looking at the body. All right. Arm has a pretty good range of motion. Looks like you can put her in a whole lot of different poses. The elbow goes up pretty far. The suit gets kind of wrinkled though and rides up. So you just kind of have to readjust the suit. You also have to watch out for kind of the stitching on here. You don't want to pop that stitching. Taking a look at the back, you can see both of her zippers on her suit. Now, the buttocks area, it's kind of interesting how they designed this. I guess it's supposed to look like what kind of like those suits are looking like these days. Kind of like the Alexa Bliss effect. I kind of prefer the old style Scarlett where they kind of covers the whole buttock, but that's just me. So far, everything else looks like it's holding together. No real major problems here. Looking at the legs and the boots. And yeah, I guess we'll have a look at her legs here. She can kick pretty high. However, the suit kind of pulls the leg back down a bit. Double bend knee there, so that's kind of good. Really good articulation. At least the knee pads didn't really pull down or anything. Ankle rocker's really good. Really thankful for that. And pretty good range of motion for the ankles. All right, so in taking her shotgun and trying to put it into her hands, I noticed something here. With this hand specifically, you try to insert it in there and you notice that they are, like the thumb and the finger are stuck together. Reasons for that? I have no idea, but then again with this figure, nothing about the engineering surprises me now. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. First off, size comparison with Scarlett and a Pepsi can. And then we have Scarlett with 3-0 Snake Eyes. Look pretty neat together. Even though Scarlett has kind of like all these bright colors on her, because Snake Eyes is all in black, they still look pretty good side by side. All right, so BBK G.I. Joe Special Forces Scarlett. What can I say about this figure? I mean, the end result is she looks okay. It's not a very expensive figure, but at the same time, I kind of wish the engineering of this figure would have been a whole lot better. There's a lot of nitpicks I have here and there, but there's also some major problems, like the hair tie. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of different solutions they could have went with, but they didn't go with them. They could have made the hair tie stitch a little bit farther apart, so then you have a larger hoop to put around that hair. They could have even sculpted the hair and just have it on there already, or somehow put it in the package with all your clothing on. Like you could have put the bodysuit on there, you could have put the hair tie, you could have put the knee pads and the elbow pads on already. So when you open up the box, it's already ready for you. I love it when Hot Toys or other companies have like figures when you open the box and the suit is already on there. All you have to do is just mess around with their accessories and that's it. But for this one, you need to put it together. And unfortunately, that's where a whole lot of the problems came from. A whole lot of frustration also came from this figure. There's pieces here and there that didn't work out. The straps were really flimsy. I'm afraid of that belt buckle just breaking. The gloves were, that's another level of problem in itself. It's weird having the, I don't know who would have thought of making like those gloves with those individual fingers that have to go on the individual fingers of these plastic pieces. What happens when you actually take out those neutral hands and put the hands where you have to put the gun in? Would you have to take the glove off and put it on those? It's just a weird decision. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend purchasing this figure. I mean, in some ways she looks really good, but in other ways, I don't know if it's really worth the amount that you pay for it. Like I said, it's very inexpensive, but at the same time, there's some quality that you expect from a figure. And I mean, if you're looking for a Scarlett, I guess this would be one of the only options out there. One thing I didn't mention throughout the whole video, which is, something that's very iconic to Scarlett, is that's cool you have the G.I. Joe name on the box. That's cool you have Scarlett name on the box as well. Where is her crossbow? A lot of people know that Scarlett carries around that crossbow, and it's kind of synonymous with Scarlett. Doesn't come with a crossbow. So, yeah, you kind of have to, if you're going to pose her in some iconic pose with just being Scarlett, you got to get that crossbow from someone else. Lucky, I think I had Ada Wong Hot Toy, which I think has a crossbow, if I'm not mistaken. Might be able to grab hers and give it to the Scarlett. But yeah. Have you purchased this figure? And if so, what did you think of it? Did you have the same problems I did? Or did those gloves go on with no problems? Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But let me know in the comments if you have purchased this figure, or if you're still willing to purchase this figure. Let me know why. But yeah, drop a like on this video if you want to. And again, if you haven't subscribed already, definitely hit that red subscribe button if you, again, want to. I hope you do, and I hope to see you next time. I'll have some more videos here and there. But until then, take care. Bye-bye.